A few days ago, Torchlight Infinite launched its second season called Blacksail. And this season added quite a few new things, including a league mechanic, a new hero, hero traits, controller support, as well as a variety of new skills to choose from. But the big question is it worth diving into? So in this video, we're going to break down all of the big kind of key components of this season and talk about their pros, cons, and my first impressions of Blacksail. Okay, so let's talk about the league mechanic. So once you get through and you complete the campaign, you're going to start seeing these anchors appear at the end of missions. Now, these Void Sea anchors, these are going to have a few different things you can do with them. So one, you can interact with them. And once you interact, you need to select a Void Sea flame. Now, by default, there's always going to be one that's here. So if you don't have any, that's perfectly fine. You can always choose one of them, and it's pretty basic. You can see it's gray. Void Pirates defeated will drop 3 additional pieces of rare armor. Great, you know, not overly awesome, but great. But as you go through and you collect these Void Sea Flames, you're going to get better effects. So this one is a 60% chance for pirates to drop 1 additional piece of legendary gear. That's pretty great. So let's talk about how to get those Void Sea Flames. Well, up here in the upper right-hand corner, you have a marker along with a number. Now, when you go through these maps, you're going to have specially marked enemies. Now, these specially marked enemies aren't any different than normal enemies. They just have a marker on them. Once you defeat them, you will gather a Void Sea Flame. And at that point, you can go up and click on this marker and you can see which flame do you have. So you can go and kind of see, okay, is there one that I really want? Or do I need to go out and farm some more? But you only have 4 on this map. Some maps only have 2, other ones only have 1. So it kind of depends on the size of the map as well. So once you go through and we interact with this anchor, let's choose this one here. Void Pirates start to spawn. And once these Void Pirates spawn, you go through and you clear them out. So right now there's just 2 waves. And once we go through and we kind of kill everything, we earn a Seal Whisper. Now these Seal Whispers, let me go ahead and grab all this stuff really quick. We'll talk about these here in a minute. Those are the new hero items. So once you earn a Seal Whisper, you can see up in the right-hand corner that marker has changed and it's starting to glow. So here you need to select an actual whisper. Now whispers are used to kind of unlock the new arena where you're going to start fighting the different bosses, including the Bride of the Void Sea. Now these whispers are going to determine what kind of gear you get when you defeat that Bride of the Void Sea or the mini bosses that are out there right now. So these will change color depending on their rarity. So early on, you're just gonna mostly get grays. I think I've maybe seen 1 blue, but most of the time they're gray. So you can see like 145% chance for fluorescent memories to appear, 30% chance for gear, 55% chance to increase drop rarity. So for me, I'm gonna go with the fluorescent memories. So once you click and confirm, it'll slot it into this kind of Void Sea sort of tear type of thing here. So once you go through and you slot 6 of these, then this will actually open up and you can go through and challenge the Bride of the Void Sea or the mini bosses that are out there currently. Now, if you want like a rundown of all this stuff, here you go. It's right up here in this little question mark. They kind of put it out here for you. You can also see what Seal Whispers you have. So you have a nice little list here of, hey, here's everything that I currently have selected so far. And then there's this little information eye that'll show you how to increase the difficulty. So that's sort of the overall league mechanic. Now I'll flip over, we'll show some gameplay of what the actual like fight with the arena looks like and all of that. Okay, so now that we've talked about the league mechanic, the last thing that we need to talk about is kind of the big boss. So once you go through and you fight the Bride of the Void Sea, then you'll get a large chest at the end with all of those rewards that are determined by the Seal Whispers. Now, once you do that, you have a chance at getting a Void Sea invitation. That Void Sea invitation will allow you to go and challenge the Pirate King, the Lord of the Void Sea, which is kind of the kind of big bad boss for the entire season. So that he's going to drop several like unique legendaries. There's some season specific gear that he drops. So it's worthwhile to try to get those invitations and go out and actually challenge him. So that's sort of the overall League mechanic. Now, unlike Dark Surge, you actually don't start seeing this mechanic until you're completely out of the campaign. So now that we've talked about the League mechanic, let's talk about the second biggest thing that got added to the game, and that is the new hero, Erica. You can see I'm rocking her right here. This is kind of what she looks like. So you're probably asking, how do you unlock Erica? And I know that because a lot of people were asking on the video and on Twitter and in chat, how do you unlock the new character, Erica? Erica is a season pass character, just like Thea was back in the first season. So if you open your season pass and you go all the way back to the beginning, she is right here in the premium pass. So if you pay $15, you unlock Erica. You cannot get her outside of that. Now, the way they plan on doing this is that she becomes available next season for direct purchase using Primacryst. And then the season after that, so season 4, she will become available for hero emblems. Hero emblems are a currency that you earn in game by completing certain milestones, unlocking certain achievements, or progressing through the free battle pass. So all of that stuff, you can unlock these characters by playing. So next season, for instance, Thea will become available and you'll be able to get her for hero emblems. Now, let's talk about Erica and what she brings to the table and whether or not she's worth that $15. So you can see here on the screen, Erica, her hero trait is Wind Stalker. So Wind Stalker, she's going to gain Cat's agility for 10 seconds after making 6 meters of movement. So what does Cat's agility give you? Well, it gives you a 20% movement speed increase, which is always great. And it also gives you a 200%, so 200% of your movement speed is also applied to your attack. So when this becomes active, you get that movement speed increase, and then you also get a big attack damage increase from your movement speed stat. So it's written a little weird, but that's sort of how it works. So she becomes very Jekyll and Hyde. If you don't have Cat's agility up and running, she loses a lot of damage. But if you have Cat's agility up and going, then she is a monster depending on what build you have. So let's talk about some of these extra traits that she has. So out of her hero trait, she has Hot Pursuit, and you're going to see a lot of multi-strike chance for her. So right out of the gate, we have a 200% multi-strike chance during Cat's agility. And again, this is going to be up basically all of the time. Because anytime you are moving with this character, she's going to be increasing or gathering stacks rather of Cat's agility. And then once you reach a certain point, aka 6 meters traveled, you're going to kick off and gain this buff. And then at that point in time, you're going to gain everything that comes with it. So you're going to gain 1 stack of Stalker for every 2 meters of movement during Cat's agility. So you can see a theme here. Constantly be moving. Always move. And that also plays into your builds. You don't want to have stationary builds because it's not going to work out super well. You want builds where you can hit something and go, hit something and go. Yeah, so if you want to go for Erica, that's sort of the way you have to do it. Now, Stalker is going to give you a buff to multi-strike. So multi-strike is going to deal 20% more damage with each strike for each stack of Stalker that you have. And then down here, you can see when multi-strike ends or you lose Cat's agility, you also lose all Stalker stacks. Now, Stalker is something that as you go through and unlock more of these traits, you're going to increase the amount of stacks you can have. So by default, you have 1, and then by the end, I think you can have like 5 or something like that. 6, actually. So at level 32, you have a choice between Have Fun and the other one. So plus 3% attack speed for every 1 meter of movement made during multi-strike, and then same thing, but it's just increasing your attack speed. So additional attack speed here for every Stalker stack. And then down here we have Interest. So you're going to extend the Cat's agility duration by 1.5 seconds when Stalker is gained, and you're going to get a movement speed increase for every stack of Stalker you have. Then we have Cat Punches. Max Stalker stacks +1. Each multi-strike will deal 10% more damage for each 1 stack of Stalker that you have. Catwalk is going to make sure our multi-strike count is not interrupted during Cat's agility, and we're no longer going to lose Stalker after multi-strike ends. And then the other one we have is Cat Dive. So during multi-strike, there's a 1% chance for this attack to deal damage equal to the max multi-strike count for every 5% movement speed you have. You're also going to get a +1 maximum multi-strike count for every 1 stack of Stalker. Our last little tower here is Cat Scratch. Every 1 stack of Stalker gives you a plus 2% additional attack speed for 3 seconds when the max multi-strike count is reached, and you get a plus 10% additional attack speed for each attack during multi-strike. Alternatively, we have Cat's Vision. So during Cat's agility, max Stalker stacks is +1 upon reaching the max multi-strike count up to +3. So as you can see, there's a lot of play on Stalker, a lot of play on Cat's agility, and a lot of play on multi-strike. So multi-strike is going to be something that you really want to kind of hammer home if you're using Erica. You need to be using a skill that benefits from multi-strike. Now for me, I'm using Corrosive Throw, and it seems to work incredibly well. You saw it in the previous trailer, or the previous gameplay clip. I don't know why I call it a trailer. It's not a trailer, it's a gameplay clip. In the previous gameplay clip, you saw it. Just blowing stuff up. So that's Erica in a nutshell. So let's talk about whether or not she's worth that $15. I'm going to kind of divide it like this. If you're someone who doesn't play this game often, or obviously if this character doesn't seem very interesting to you, like if you like to play stationary builds or, you know, a berserker or something like that, then Erica is probably not going to be up your alley. She's just not. Her play style, her requirements, all of those things just probably aren't going to mesh well with you. If you're somebody who doesn't play very often, then I wouldn't recommend spending $15, especially because she'll be available here in 2 seasons anyway for hero emblems by just playing the game. So there really isn't a huge kind of need at this very moment. Now, if you're someone like me who plays this game often, who really enjoys this type of play style, I like fast, kind of super quick, sort of chaotic type of play. And because of that, sign me up. Erica sounds great. So $15, I'm okay spending that. I'm going to play the game. I'm going to get my $15 worth of enjoyment out of it. And that's sort of the way I like to look at things, right? I like to compare like the movie theater price of things. But anyway, that's the way I kind of think about these things. So may or may not be for you. So that's the new hero, Erica. Let's talk about the new system that came to the game for your hero trait. So here we are back in the hero trait screen. As you can see, it looks a little different. We have the character over here. We got this nice looking UI over here. It looks much better. But down here at the bottom, we have a new set of items we can equip. So for each hero trait, you now have hero relics and you have hero memories. So hero relics are going to give you some stat increases. Down here at the bottom, we have a plus 11% chance to multi-strike. We have an attack damage increase. And we also have these Ingram slots up here at the top. Now, depending on how these roll, you can have all of them open. You can have one of them open. This one has 2, whereas these other ones, they just have 1. So when you have 2 slots open, that means you can equip 2 memories. So these memories give you additional stats. So here we have increased attack speed and attack damage. You have movement speed, crit strike damage. You have Cat's agility duration, avoid damage, critical strike. So there's a lot of really cool stuff that you can do. And these are blue items. So imagine as you get deeper into it and you get, you know, kind of climb the rarity ladder and you get into the nitty gritty of sort of, you know, tons of these items that have a lot of different affixes on them, you can do some really cool stuff. And this is one of the things that to me was a little surprising. So I didn't expect something like this to be added to the game, just to be honest with you guys. But hero traits really needed something, because outside of just going into it your first time, kind of deciding on your build and then choosing a trait, this was a very set it and forget it system. Unless you went and drastically changed your build, you really didn't come into your hero traits very often and swapped things around. So it literally was set it, forget it, and that system is completely out of your mind until next season or you create a new character. This brings players back into this system, and you might not change these very much up here, but having these extra items down here kind of cause you to revisit those choices that you've made up here at the top, right? And figure out, okay, do these work well with the memories and the relics that I have, or do I need to try a different approach or a different angle to get the most bang for my buck out of these items? So let's talk about some of the other things that came with Season 2, and we'll just kind of touch on those really quick. So 1, the new skills that came, which are Moonstrike, Thunder Slash, Haunting Abomination, Howling Gale, and Blazing Bullet. All of these seem to be working fairly well. None of them are kind of undertuned or anything like that. Perfectly fine. Moonstrike seems to be the crowd favorite for melee characters, whereas Blazing Bullet seems to be doing extremely well for the kind of gunslinger type of people. So there's a lot happening between those skills. People are testing them out. I haven't had a chance to go through and play each and every one of them, so I'm depending on chat a little bit for kind of their takes, but there's some really cool stuff out there. And then to kind of offset that, we also have balance adjustments. So there was a lot of balance passes that went through this time around. So some of the kind of like old bad skills, like to me, the beam skills weren't that great. Those got overhauled, and now they're actually something that people are using. There's one character, you know, he's pushing, good Lord, I think he is like 400 million DPS or something like that, but he's using Scorching Beam or Scorching Ray, whatever it's called. And he's melting bosses. And he said, you know, last season this wasn't possible. So he's kind of building around that. It's been pretty interesting seeing and kind of following his progress a little bit. But if you have those skills that you saw, you tried, and you're like, this skill sucks, so I'm going to quit, maybe come back and try it out. See if it's something that, you know, got a nice buff and it works out well. We also added controller support, so that's another thing that came to the game. So if you're a controller player, that's something you can take a look at. But anyway, let's talk about kind of like final impressions of Season 2. We are a couple days into Season 2, and right now it is looking better than Dark Surge was. Dark Surge didn't have a ton of complexity to it. You got into the map, you killed some enemies, you filled up a gauge, you clicked the gauge, it summoned more enemies, you killed those enemies, that was it. This one, as you can see, there's a lot more depth. You have to go clear out the maps, you have to find the marked enemies, you have to submit the void flames, you have to clear out those enemies, you have to gather the whispers, you have to take the whispers to this arena, you have to clear the arena, you get a chest, you have a chance of getting an invitation, which then takes you to the Lord of the Void Sea, which gives you a chance at some seasonal legendaries. So there's a lot more complexity and depth to it that I think this game needed, because I'll be honest, I mean, Dark Surge wasn't fun. Like, outside of the first, you know, kind of few times you did it, and you're like, oh, this is kind of neat, it wasn't overly exciting. And that was something that a lot of people in my Discord, as well as on Twitter and Reddit, that was something they all talked about, was there just wasn't enough, like, there wasn't enough of a difference or a change to your gameplay loop to really make it cool and unique. This adds a little bit more. It's a step in the right direction. I don't think we're quite there yet. You know, if you compare it to the other kind of, I'll say, ARPG like Seasonal King, that's going to be Path of Exile and their leagues. Those leagues change things up quite a bit. Now, I know they haven't always been that way, right? It's been sort of a step-by-step approach for them as well, but that's what people are going to be expecting as they come into Torchlight Infinite. Oh, there's a new season? Okay, what's the new mechanic? Like, what do I need to start preparing for? Like, you know, how deep is it? Is it going to add a new system, a new crafting thing, a new area? Like, what are all these different things that are going to get added? And Torchlight Infinite needs to be able to answer some of those questions and needs to be able to give players enough meat to chew on to kind of keep them around throughout the full season. So like I said, this is a step in the right direction. I'm enjoying what I'm playing so far. We're only a couple days into it, so we'll revisit this here in like a month and see whether or not there's enough players around, there's more players around, see if people are still excited about it, still engaging in it, or if it's something that you play it for a month, you move on. So anyway, that's kind of where I'm at so far on Torchlight Infinite Season 2 or Blacksail Season, but I want to hear from you guys. So in the comment section below, let me know if you guys are playing Torchlight, if this looks interesting, if you're rolling Erica, if you're not. Now, there are a couple other hero traits. I almost forgot about those. So the commander got Charge Calling, which is like a self-destruct activation thing for his robots. So he'll send them out, they'll blow things up, and they'll do a ton of damage. And then the Berserker has this like Rage Phantom type of skill. And the Rage Phantom will mirror your main skill and damage all these nearby enemies. So pretty cool stuff. So guys, that's all I have for today. Thank you all so much for watching. This has been Vulkan, and I'll talk to you guys next time.